right, we're now on to week 3, day 2 of the homework, and I am going to do some questions, and they all have to do with the same problem, so I'm going to try to do 1 through 4 on this one page. We'll see how far I get. So let me read the word problem. If C is the number of cups of water needed to make paper mache paste, then 1/4C can be used to find the cups of flour needed. So the cups of flour are 1/4 of the water, okay? So find the number of cups of flour you need for each of the cups of water. So my expression for all of these questions is going to be 1/4C, and that is going to equal, okay, let's identify something. This C equals the cups of water. And when I get the answer is going to be the cups of flour we have to use for our recipe. And if any of you do actually make paper mache and try this out, let me know. I'm kind of interested. I found this recipe online, so I decided to write this word problem. Okay, so they want to know in question 1, what happens when I put 12 cups of water into my equation? So that's the C. The C is the water. So 1/4, 12 cups of C, and how many cups of flour would I need? Okay, so I'm going to multiply my fractions, and I get 12 over 4. 4 can go into 12 3 times. Now, that is how you do it if you do your multiplication fraction straightforward. This next one, 8 cups of water, I am going to do it the substitution method because I didn't teach you guys fractions, and I don't know which method you guys are more accustomed to. So if you get the same answer of me, but my process looks different, just know I'm doing different ways for different people. And it's okay as long as you get the right answer. So my expression is 1/4C. The 8 goes in for the C, okay, which is going to equal 1/4 times 8. Put a 1 underneath my 8 to make it a fraction, and I'm going to cancel. 4 goes into 4 one time, 4 goes into 8 2 times. 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 1 is 1, so the answer is 2. All right, in number 3, we have 7 cups. Oh, that's not divisible by 4. This is going to be a little harder. So 1/4C, I'm going to put that in. So I'm going to have 1/4 times 7 over 1, because I got to make it a fraction. This time I can't do the canceling method because nothing cancels. So I know that when I multiply, my fraction is going to be reduced. So this is okay because it's a reduced fraction. Or I could say I have 1 3/4, or I could make it a decimal, 1.75 cups of flour. The last one is 10 cups. Okay. All right, so I put it into my expression. So 10 is going in for C. So it's 1/4 times, let's make it a fraction all in one step, 10 over 1. In this one, I'm going to do it this method like the first one. So I'm just going to multiply across and then reduce instead of reducing before math. So this is not a reduced fraction. I would not allow this. You have to reduce it down, and it reduces down to 5 seconds, okay? So, or 5 seconds would be the proper way of saying it. I could write it as a mixed number, which would be 2 1/2, or as a decimal, which would be 2.5. These are the 3 ways that I could express the answer. All right, pretty awesome, right? Okay. So let's try number 5. Okay, number 5 we get into variables. In some of the classes I haven't gotten to this far. We spent a little bit more time on evaluating expressions. That just depends on the group of students in the class. So if you're in one of the classes that we haven't gotten that far, stop here. If you have learned this, go right ahead. We also have a video in there of a lot of things to do with algebra, all of algebra, all the way to multi-step, which we won't get into until week 4. Okay, so I have to ask myself, what is 19 doing to the x? And I have to do the opposite operation. So the 19 is dividing the h, so the opposite of dividing is multiplication. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Okay, so these are going to cancel. It's going to be negative 3 times 19. That is going to be negative 57. Is that what I got earlier? It is. I do these questions ahead of time, just in case I make a blundering mistake while recording. Just like you should do them ahead of time before watching this video. Okay. I hate P's and Q's. They turn into numbers for me very easily. They look like 8s. Okay, so I have to ask myself, what is this negative 12 doing to the Q? It's multiplying. Opposite operation is division. What I do to one side, I have to do the other side. I want you to take notice that I even take the sign of the 12. If I don't take the sign of the 12, then I'm going to have a negative Q. I don't want negative Q. I want just Q. Q completely by itself. Okay? This is going to give me the desired one that I want. All right? And if I divide these two, it's going to be a positive 2. All right, let's go on to number 7. All right, ask yourself, what is negative 6 doing to m? It's dividing it, so I'm going to multiply to undo it. Remember my goal, undo everything around the variable so I can get it by itself. All right, these are going to cancel, leaving me with just m. They're actually going to go to 1. We saw that in class. All right, and now I can do the other side, which is 1 times a negative 6, which is going to give me just a negative 6. Now, if you remember from class, I don't like backwards equations. You can do backwards equations. I'm not saying that you can't, but it gets really confusing. So for organizational reasons, I taught you how to flip-flop. Okay, that means this whole piece is just going to slide to the front. All right, so t minus negative 836 equals slide this to the back, the whole thing, 1785. All right, now I got to clean up some of these signs, so it's a positive. What would happen if I didn't clean up my signs? Well, when I went to look at what is 836 doing to the t, I would say it's subtracting. I can't do two things to it. I can only do one thing to it. So I have to, that would cue me into, oh, let's clean up our signs. Okay, so it's now adding to the t, so I have to subtract it to the t. And if you like to look at this vertically, there is nothing wrong with that. It doesn't even make your math slower. You do what is best for you. I'm just writing it this way because of a space issue. But if you want to write it vertically, I might even write some of the next ones vertically so that you can see. Okay, so 1785 minus 836 is going to be 949. All right, 4 more for this day. Okay, question 9. And I said I would do this one vertically. So I asked myself, what is the 8 doing to the p? It's adding, so I've got to subtract. In order to be even, I must do that to both sides. Okay, so p drops down, this turns to a 0. Who cares about zeros? 23 minus 8 is going to give me 15. So my answer is going to be p equals 15. All right, number 10. 8 plus t equals negative 130. I don't like this, the way that's written. I am going to flip-flop my terms here. You just got to take the sign with it. So I'm just going to slide this one this way. This one's positive, so when I slide it this way, it becomes plus 8. Very good. Okay, so now I see that the 8 is adding the t. So in order to undo it, I need to subtract it. Oh, I said I was going to do it visually. Or vertically. Okay, so that is going to go to 0. It's going to give me t equals 138. I already see a mistake on my answer key. Give me a second, I want to fix it. All right, let's do number 11 now. Okay, h minus 21 equals 52. All right, so the 21 is subtracting the h, so to get my desired 0, I'm going to have to add it. And because I'm running out of room, I'm going to go back to the vertical method. All right, like I said, doesn't slow you down, just takes more room when I'm trying to fit a lot of problems on one page. All right, so this is going to go to 0, leaving me with an h. Negative 52 plus 21 is going to give me negative 31. If you're having trouble with these negatives and positives, okay, you want to look up a video about integers, operations with integers. I also cover this extensively. I do a circular class of working with integers, negative and positive numbers, in whole numbers, in fractions, in decimals. We even work with it a little bit in exponents. We also circle in order of operations. It's called hands-on fun with rational numbers. This is a class you need if this is still eluding you in your studies, okay? All right. All right, so the 8 is adding to the h. So to undo it, we need to subtract it. All right, so that's going to give me my big fat 0, leaving me with just h. 11 minus 8 is 3. All right, how awesome. We got everything done. Okay, so keep doing this. Watch the videos I suggest, and I will see you in class for week 4.